What's going on, guys? Jada Black here. Shout out to everybody tuning in. I want to talk about Amanda Seales. Apparently, Amanda Seales had a show, and she was fired from that show. And there are people who are saying it was due to her comments about a certain group or a certain place. And she's placing the blame not with the fact that the show probably wasn't, didn't have the support from fans, people who she believes is her fans, and she wants to place the blame in other places. Now, Amanda Seales has been all over the place. It's almost like they try to give her things to do and it never works out, right? Whether it's comedy, whether it's hosting shows, whether it's acting, she tends to get pushed out of the door. And she tends to blame others for that, right? It's everybody else's fault. It's never her fault. The fact that her show flopped had probably a lot to do with the fact, again, if you're working for other people, they have certain guidelines and you cross those, you're going to get let go. But also you're going to get let go if you're not good at what you do. Okay. Now, let's get into this article here from The Root. Amanda Seales certainly knows how to find controversy fresh off the internet, taking issue with her comments about Nene Leakes. The actress comedian is now dealing with reports that her show was canceled. On Wednesday, she hopped on social media to inform her fans that her show had reportedly been canceled because some affiliates didn't think that she was funny enough. This may seem harsh, but when radio markets radio signs on to air a show, they usually expect some specific type of show for a specific time slot. She basically is admitting it to herself she wasn't funny, because Amanda Seales isn't funny, but she continues to get opportunities. The show featuring comedians usually have funny sketches, characters, jokes revolving around current events and pop culture. This isn't a hard and a fast rule, as the most successful shows find a way to fit their style into this format. We can only guess that she wasn't conforming enough for management. Of course, once again, they have guidelines. And if you continue to be a line crosser, how long before they say, you know what, you're not bringing in the audience anyway? Seales did things her way, which apparently made affiliates unhappy. In the video, she admits that she wasn't doing the typical show, often discussing politics, activism, and other more serious issues. She pushed back on her boss's requests and had problems with other hosts like D.L. Hughley and Ricky Smiley. Of course, she has problems with black men. Now, I will say these two black men are simps. They are goofy. They are operatives of the Democratic Party, and they show black men to be weak and incompetent. So I can understand why she don't like those guys. You would think all of them have the same political beliefs, but even she doesn't like these two. What does that tell you? She also noted that she never been fired from a creative position because she shows up and does a good job. In the entertainment industry, projects get canceled for all kinds of reasons, most of which usually have something to do with money. So it's totally possible that decision really doesn't have anything to do with Seales. However, playing the victim again isn't going to help her reputation. Now, I want to get to these videos. There's two different videos. I guess it's from a live stream she did, and she's going to tell you in her own words what she feels like happened.
Hughley and Ricky Smiley to about me on their shows. I was told that the reason the show was not going to go further was because affiliates did not want a show that was polarizing, and also that I was not funny enough on a consistent basis. And they're not wrong. These are not, let me do a silly skit every morning times. At one point on the show where they called me and they asked me to stop referring to the genocide as a genocide, I played that little game for like a month. And then I just was like, I can't not refer to it as what it is. They allowed folks like Dale Hughley and Ricky Smiley to talk about me on their shows, to besmirch my merits because I was not a supporter because I was not a blind supporter of Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's because they thought you were. They brought you on to be a liberal radio comedian who talks about conservatives and Republicans, right? Ignore what's going on in the Middle East unless it fits a narrative, right? Support Kamala Harris. Those things are probably going to get you kicked off of these affiliates because a lot of these, especially if you're talking about radio, a lot of them are owned by pretty much the same companies.
This is the first time I've ever been let go from a creative position. There's a lot of lies and falsehoods about me that are put out there, like, oh, Amanda Seales, she got fired from this. I've never been fired from a creative job. I got fired from the Heartland Brewery in Times Square because I wouldn't stop wearing an afro. But I've never been fired from a creative job because I show up and because I am really good at what I do. So the haters is gonna love this. The haters is gonna love this. They allowed folks like Dale Hughley.
Okay. So this is the other video clip here. Let's get into it.
Of my bosses who were Jewish men, I said.
Let me say this real quick. When I say that a lot of these radio affiliates now, because radio's kind of become more and more obsolete with podcasting, with streaming, it's become more and more obsolete, right? And a lot of these companies, radio stations, or they're all owned by the same companies, the same few companies that are out there, big companies. And just wanted to put that out there.
I cannot come here unless you're going to have my back when I eventually have to speak about Palestine, because I will have to speak about Palestine. And I need to know, do you all acknowledge that Palestine is an occupied state? Do you acknowledge this? And the elder said, yes. And the other started to do conjecture. And I was like, cut it. I didn't ask you for all of that. I said yes or no. He said yes. And I said, because I will have.
You see this again. Listen, if you want to talk about certain things, and we all know this, because being on YouTube for as long as I've been on YouTube, you understand that when you speak on certain subject matter, you're going to be subject to demonetization. You're going to be subject to getting flagged, right? And you know that with certain things that you're going to have to either stay away from or speak on in a certain manner. When you're talking to your, I'm assuming, bosses, and you're pointing your finger and you talking about what you ain't going to do, you're getting off on the wrong foot already. You're getting off on the wrong foot already. Once again, it is about accountability. You can't talk to your bosses this way. You can't. Because you can go and do your own podcast or do your own radio show, whatever you want to do. You made a choice to go work for somebody. And when you work for somebody, you're subject to their guidelines and rules. If you don't like it, go work for yourself. So you won't have to worry about being fired. But because Amanda has been given so many opportunities in her life, she like she said, she's not used to being fired because she's used to being given shit and not earning it. Because why would you go to your bosses and tell what you talk about, what you gonna do and what you ain't gonna do? Is it you gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I understand negotiations, but this is why she's where she is right now.
To speak about Palestine. And when it happens, I need to know that this company is going to have my back. I cannot sign this contract unless I know that this company is going to have my back. And when they asked me to take down my video of Zionists fucking with my livelihood, that's also when I knew, like, this is probably the beginning of the end. It always sucks that it's a black man who always delivers the news. And I will leave you with this. Whenever somebody says it's just business, that is the lie that sellouts tell themselves. Actually, you know what? I just remembered that I have been fired from a creative job. I was fired from Sirius Satellite Radio by another black man. When I came to Radio 1 in 2021.
Well, that makes sense as to why she has so much smoke for black men, especially successful black men. I'm not talking about D.L. Hughley or Ricky Smiley, but she does. I mean, it brings into focus the situation with the ex-football player turned surgeon that she tried to get caught up out here. She has a problem with successful. She's pointing the finger at black men once again, instead of at herself. When you went to go work at that radio station or company or wherever, you knew damn well that certain things would get you canceled or get you fired, and you didn't care. If you want to talk about these particular subject matters, you might do it on your own, but see, she doesn't want to do the work of putting together her own platform. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of women like her that don't want to do it. They want to go work for somebody. It ain't just her, it's men as well. You see men out here now that want to go work for other people. It's too hard. I mean, look at Tim Pool. It's too hard to do the work. They want that. They just want to get paid to work for somebody else. They don't want to put the work in and have their own. It's too much. But if you want to talk about these subjects, you might as well go work for yourself. She seems like a type of person who is not very easy to get along with. I mean, you're going there telling your bosses these things. Now, again, if you're doing a contract negotiation and you're having certain expectations, that's fine. But I don't think Amanda is dumb. I don't think Amanda's dumb. I think Amanda should have understood that when you speak about certain things that are going on in the world, these people aren't going to have your back. They're just not. And she should have knew this, but you know, you can't tell me you were that naive to think that. You see, they wanted you, Amanda, on their platform so you can support Kamala Harris, attack Republicans, talk about racism. That's why they wanted you there. They agreed with you in the short term, thinking that they could control you. And then they realized we're just going to have to fire her. But ultimately, Amanda, it's about accountability. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video and share. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram, and I'll see y'all next.